Hey everyone! Today, we're looking back at the masterpiece that started it all, the 2008 film, Iron Man, which was directed by Jon Favreau, who also played Happy Hogan. Before this movie, Marvel was almost bankrupt, and Robert Downey Jr. was considered a risky bet. But this became a cinematic revolution. The story follows Tony Stark, a billionaire playboy, genius scientist, and the CEO of Stark Industries, the world's leading weapon manufacturer. Tony is living the ultimate high life, completely oblivious to the real-world destruction his tech causes. He travels to war-torn Afghanistan to demonstrate his new Jericho missile to the US military. But on his way back, his convoy is brutally ambushed by a terrorist group called the Ten Rings. Irony hits hard here because Tony gets blown up by one of his own company's missiles. Tony wakes up in a dark cave, in worse shape than ever. Shrapnel from the explosion is moving toward his heart. Luckily, a fellow captive scientist named Yinsen saves him by implanting an electromagnet in his chest, powered by a car battery. The terrorists demand that Tony build them a Jericho missile. Instead, Tony and Yinsen secretly designed something else, a crude, weaponized suit of armor, powered by a miniature arc reactor that Tony invents from scraps. When the terrorists realize they've been tricked, a countdown begins. Tragically, Yinsen sacrifices his life to buy Tony enough time to boot up the armor. Armed with flamethrowers and bulletproof steel, Tony destroys the camp in the legendary Mark I suit and flies away, crashing into the desert. Rescued by his best friend, Rhodey, Tony returns to Malibu a changed man. He immediately holds a press conference and announces that Stark Industries is shutting down its weapons division for good. This shocks the world, especially his business partner, Obadiah Stane. Tony locks himself in his high-tech garage, assisted by his AI, Jarvis, and his loyal assistant, Pepper Potts. He refines his chest piece and builds the sleek red and gold Mark III armor, solving engineering problems like high-altitude icing. Meanwhile, Pepper discovers a dark secret. Obadiah has been secretly selling Stark weapons to terrorists behind Tony's back, and he was actually the one who ordered the hit on Tony in Afghanistan. Obadiah goes full villain mode. He ambushes Tony, paralyzes him with a sonic device, and rips the arc reactor straight out of Tony's chest to power his own massive, weaponized mech suit, the Ironmonger. Tony barely survives by using his old, weaker reactor from the cave. Weak and losing power, Tony flies into a brutal aerial battle above Los Angeles against Obadiah. Since Obadiah's suit is heavier, Tony lures him into the upper atmosphere, causing the Ironmonger to freeze and plummet. The final showdown happens on the roof of Stark Industries. With Tony's suit completely drained, he tells Pepper to overload the building's massive arc reactor. A giant blue beam shoots into the sky, frying Obadiah and sending him crashing into the exploding generator. The next day, the government sets up a massive cover story for Tony, giving him a script to read at a press conference. But in true Tony Stark fashion, he looks at the reporters, throws the script away, and drops the most legendary line in MCU history: "I am Iron Man." But wait. The real history-making moment happens after the credits. Tony walks into his dark living room, and Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., steps out of the shadows. He tells Tony that he's not the only superhero in the world and says, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative." This single scene birthed a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.